time because I don't like looking at myself. Okay, I get it because it is scary stuff. But when you're speaking, it's just a matter of practice. But there are a few hints and tips that you can take on in order to become a better speaker. When I first did my training on speaking as such, we had to do a whole speech without using our hands. We had to stand there with our hands by our sides and just speak from the mouth. Now, this is a really wonderful practice in order to get your criteria out there without relying on the movement of your body. However, the movement of your body can also change the way that people think. So here's a couple of hints or tips that I've learned along my way.
Uitgang bij de hut en de kortste weg naar de verzamelplaatsen op dek 9. In geval van onduidelijkheid kunt u contact opnemen met het Guest Service Center op dek. Dank voor uw aandacht en we hopen dat u een plezierige reis hebt. Meer diepen om Ihre Aufmerksamkeit.
I have spoken on stages all across the world, and I've been told that I do speak very fluently. Even when I fumble my words, I mean, hey, we all make mistakes. Laugh at yourself before anybody else does and just enjoy the process. So when I go up on stage, what is the first thing I do? Well, the first thing I do is get nervous as shit. That's my process, because there's a difference between being nervous and being excited. And that's where you have to distinguish the outcome of what you're doing. My partner taught me this many years ago, and he was bang on it when he started talking about it. I was about to go on stage for a show, and my partner said to me, "Are you okay?" And I said, "I'm not." I said, "I'm really, really nervous about this. I'm shaking. I'm so worried," because I had a lot of big names in the audience that were, watching me. They wanted to know whether they wanted my criteria on board. They were sort of judging me as such. And he used to play in a band called the Butterfly Effect in Australia. And he said to me, I remember once playing my bass guitar in front of 3,000 people on the stage. And he said, at the end of the day, you've got to decide whether it's nervous or excitement, because they both have the same physical outcome. They both have the sweating, the anxiety, the shaking. They both have the heart palpitations. However, they have different outcomes. If you choose for it to be excitement, you'll go out on stage, you'll do a performance, and you'll have a great old time. If you choose for it to be nervousness, you will make mistakes while you're on stage. People will know, they will distinguish that, and then you'll come off stage wondering why you ever did it. So that's the difference here. When you're becoming a speaker, decide whether you're excited or whether you're nervous, because the physical ramifications are exactly the same. It's just the outcome that is different. And I thought to myself, I'm nervously excited, so this is a good thing. And the only thought that was going through my head was, what if I forgot something? And John said to me, you will forget something. It's as simple as that. There's so much information coming in. And if somebody genuinely wants to know that, one, it's in the manual, or two, they'll ask a question. And he's so true. Just go out there and be that speaker. Now, you may not be a speaker on a global level like myself, but you're still a speaker in front of your client. Perhaps you've got a whiteboard and you do some writing on it. You're still stepping up into that place where you're talking to that one person in the room. Now, when it comes to being that speaker, there are a couple of things that you need to know. Number one, if you're using a whiteboard, please make sure that your writing is very large and fluent. Don't be afraid to go through pages and pages on that flipboard or wipe off stuff, because as much as you can see it right here in front of you, your audience may not be able to see it way out there. So write connectively and fluently. There's no point in just keep stabbing at that board going, write fluently, and keep yourself very calm, okay? When you're writing all of your stuff, set up some expectations as well. The one thing I always set up when I talk to people, when I'm doing this work on stage or in front of a client, I say to them, look, I'm not an artist, so use your imagination when it comes to my stick figures. And as long as I'm getting the message across, then you're getting the power of the message. And they understand. Also, when it comes to being a speaker, there are different things you can do psychologically to help people endeavor a message a little bit better. So when people are thinking about the past, so when you're making an argument or a judgment or a discussion about the past, walk to the right-hand side of the stage. Because what is happening here is your audience is looking towards the left, and the past is left behind. It's left in that stage. The past is left. So you walk to the right hand side of the stage, people go to the left, and that's when they start getting into that nostalgic mode, that kinesthetic scene where they're remembering. And then when you want to make your valid point, you walk to the left and now start looking towards the right. The right is the logical side, the explanation side, the side that opens up to the information. So you walk to the left, they look to the right, and now they're going, yes, that is very clever. Also, when you're being a speaker, make sure that you engage with your whole entire stage, but don't be one of those people that take up the whole stage. There are people that are like chipmunks on speed when they get on stage, and all of a sudden they get their microphone, like, blah, 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 and they've got to walk, and they just keep going backwards and forwards, pacing. It's really, really frustrating and quite annoying. So make sure when you're making your valid points, you keep yourself in the right position at the right time of your point. So if you're talking about something from the past, you're on the right-hand side of the stage because your clients or your audience is looking towards the left. That's the nostalgic side. If you're talking about the future and the change, then you're on the left-hand side of the stage because they are going towards the right, and the future's the right way to go. Now, when it also comes to you being on stage, don't be afraid to relax and just breathe, go with the flow. I've had stage work that I've done where I've completely stuffed it up, and I've just said to them, like, oh, sorry, buggered that up. Let's amend that. Laugh at yourself before anyone has a chance to, and then engage in the audience to laugh with you as well. Because as soon as people laugh, they remember they have a good time, and then suddenly they're like, they don't remember the mistakes that you made. It's as simple as that. So when it comes to you being a speaker, go out there and just do your work. Remember that every single time you go out there, you're going to get a little bit better because it's all practice and nothing changes on race day. So go out there, give speaking a crack, and just have a go at it. Practice with yourself in the mirror, keep going over your script as such, and remember, you can only be prepared for questioning, and make sure you engage with your audience, because if you do not know something, perhaps there's somebody in the audience that does know something, and ask them to engage in it, and then thank them. Like, thank you for that information. Now I have some more criteria to share with other people. And that audience member will be like, oh, they'll be quite chuffed as such. So when you're being a speaker, go out there, practice, distinguish the difference between nervousness and excitement, do the left and right stage movement, and just have some fun. I'll see you in the next video. If you'd like to know when the next Canadian Hypnosis Conference or the next training for Pound and Palmer Specialty Hypnosis training is coming up, please click on the links in the description. Bye-bye.
Have you checked out our modern mentoring? There are heaps of students all across the globe on it. Please go and check it out now. It's all about getting your complimentary business online and getting your products and services out there. Have a browse.